Somebody the other day was sending me something that was online, and they were like, oh, I was Googling you and it came up as an anti-trans activist.
You?
Yeah. And I was like, it's hilarious they would think I'm an activist. Like, that is...
Yeah, you wouldn't do anything about it. That's so funny. Is that did that just happen?
These people sent it to me on Google. They like Googled my name and it came up.
That's hilarious. Like, that's a bit.
Anti-transgender activists. Yeah. Oh yeah, probably.
That's a bit. You gotta say that on stage. What you just said is a perfect bit. That's crazy. How dare they? You know, like,
I was just so offended. I'm like, you guys don't know how absolutely. Anything. If I'm anti anything, by the way, it's anti-activist.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, activists of any kind.
Right, yeah. It doesn't matter what they're called.
It's always the people, too, who were activists, like the like Occupy Wall Street, who end up going full-blown the other direction.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are like, how come you, like, kind of left the left, but you didn't get captured by the right? And I'm like, because I was not part of the left by choice. I just was.
Yeah.
By osmosis.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they're doing some crazy stuff, but I wasn't about to be like, and now I'm going to go march for MAGA, you know?
No. Well, that's what you call a grifter, right? It's like somebody that goes to the whole completely other side.
Yeah, or maybe maybe it's a personality type where they're just like an activist and they just need to take their activism.
Yeah, and put it to use. Right.
Yeah. So they were like Bernie bro, and now they're like, yay, Trump.
See, that's the thing with me is I think I'm more like you where I like, are we good? You wanna... No, we're good. Okay, yeah.
Oh, we're good. Are you recording? Oh, we can keep all this. I'm welcome to Walk-Ins Welcome. I guess I should do an intro. I'm with Trey Stewart, everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't introduce my guest. We just got right into it. I'm with Trey Stewart, everyone. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
We were just talking about activism and how I'm not it's not really my I always admire. I kind of admire, but also it feels like a Karen thing.
Yeah.
Like the people who are really active in HOA or in 12-step programs, there were always the people who were like, there's this part of 12-step that's like the more business admin aspect of it, where they go to these meetings and like you have to have that kind of personality to be like, I'm going to be all organized and get people to vote.
Yeah, it's in you. Yeah. That's a good point, is that you're either using that in service of, like a Kamala Harris or whatever, or Biden. And then, when you're disillusioned with that, you have to put that energy somewhere.
Yeah.
So you give it to Trump. I mean, there's a couple people I'm thinking of, political pundits, that literally did that shift from Biden to Trump. And I'm just kind of like, there's a shift from Bernie to Trump, which is like, it's weird, but I understand it at its core because I was a Bernie bro. I guess, reform Bernie. I don't know. There's policy that he had that I thought was good for America. But when I was let down by that wing of the party and the Democratic Party, it's like I don't find myself up Trump's asshole.
Yeah.
So it is a weird kind of, I think I'm disillusioned by the whole thing. If anything, the energy is going into chaos. like let's just burn everything down.
I think that's where a lot of people's energy is going in this moment. And online, I was noticing, because did you see Trump came out with the like whole pharmaceutical thing, and he was going to he did this long Truth Social post about how he's bringing down the prices of pharmaceutical drugs.
Oh, he is?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
And everybody was like, I've been saying this. He is Bernie with borders. And I was like, that is kind of
Bernie with borders,
in 2025. That is Trump.
God. I mean, yeah, he was left of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
When he ran in 2016.
Yeah.
He was left of her. So it's like he was smart enough to understand. I mean, he even tweeted about it. I remember, he's like, hey, Bernie bros, y'all got fucked over, man. That's not cool. He's like, hey, come on over.
He's like, want to get fucked over again?
That's the thing I love about...
Fool me twice?
People love getting fooled, man. Like, that's the thing. I was all up. I bought Obama. You know what I mean? Everything. And then, I was inspired by Bernie. And then at a certain point, you just kind of like, all right, I'm not gonna. Even if I agree with some of the stuff Trump is saying, there's no way I don't have it left in me to actually get, happy or you know what I mean, like yeah. And so it's funny watching the people that are like, yeah, Trump, because I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
Like just wait, we've all been there, and it's like it's countdown until you're let down. And with Trump, he's already like done some wild shit that I don't think his base actually wanted.
No.
So it's just kind of...
No. Yeah. Even like the stuff that's like, no one voted for Greenland, or like Canada, a Canadian 51st state.
I do like that. He made Justin Trudeau step down. He was like, I'm going to buy Canada. And Trudeau couldn't recover. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe it's more complicated than that. But in my mind, one tweet from Trump and Trudeau was like, all right, I'm done.
I'm out. It is funny how like when I see the like young people, that's why I do want to go interview. The whole reason we started talking about this is because there are all these protesters and they're protesting Elon or something. And it does make me think of when I was in my 20s. Yeah. I was not an activist even then because I was too much of a partier. And
oh really?
Yeah, I just didn't like, and that's what I mean. I was way more interested in just like getting fucked up than I was in.
Yeah, you're supposed to. You're a kid when you're. Yeah. Sometimes there's a young 20-something Democrat YouTube guy, and every time I see him when he's talking about policy, I'm just like, what's wrong with you? You fucking nerd. Like, go be a kid, right? I mean, I know 2021, you're a young adult, but it's like, you shouldn't be a pundit. At 21, you should be.
But I think that's where they get their dopamine from. I was joking about this on Dumpster Fire. I'm like, these kids don't get fucked up anymore. They just get high on their own opinions.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting high off the like rush of being either piled on or agreed with online. I think they get it from both too.
Yeah, it is a high, a rush of the, the views and all of the likes. It is a drug. Social media, that is a drug. So people who are you know what? That's a good point. Trump is sober, but his drug is Twitter. Like his, you know what I mean? He says that he's never done cocaine, but he's like, the media is his drug. Being famous is what this guy is addicted to.
We were saying this the other day on Dumpster Fire actually too, about how is he really a narcissist if the world does revolve around you, are you really a narcissist? No. Are you just being accurate?
Yeah, he's the main character. If you're the main character,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He has been the main character for
Dave
years.
Smith has the funniest bit about how he's like, if you told someone the story of Donald Trump, it would be like,
oh, I've seen this, but
it's such a good bit where he's talking about like he like what other real estate developers can you name? You only know one.
Yeah,
and just how everything he does like goes huge, and he's this master of media, and maybe God does smile favorably upon him. Maybe he is chosen.
Listen, I thought that I always think anybody that says they're chosen by God or whatever is a little hack. It's a little all right, but then when he dodged that bullet, when he just turned he literally turned the other cheek, and that saved his life. Yeah, and I was like, damn, I don't know how much I really believe.
He killed someone else, but saved his life.
That's the thing. Is like, so it's somebody died, but Trump didn't.
I know.
So it's like, what is that? How is it? Is it luck or is it God? They say God has a plan. I always found that to be insulting because like his plan involves innocent death. Still like a lot of innocent death. But don't worry, he's cooking something up. Let him cook. So let God cook.
You're like, God, your plan seems a little bit dysfunctional. This is like a Hunter Biden plan.
Oh my God, Hunter. Yeah, that's another one. What a fun guy. His paintings.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at his paintings the other day.
Oh, you are?
I was, yeah. Sometimes he's one of my top 5 artists. It's Hunter Biden, it's Hitler.
Yeah.
George Bush.
Uh-huh.
They're all
Who
good.
Are the other two?
Jim Carrey and Picasso, yeah.
Jim Carrey's got some good stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
and
but
Picasso.
and Kevin Nealon is really good too. Caricatures.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just a random thing.
But Hunter Biden's number 1.
Hunter Biden is number 1, just in the grift, because it's not the best art, But
what kind of art is it?
Man, I wish we could.
We can pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not, I think he got paid, I don't know what he got paid. It was too much. It's like thousands of dollars.
I think it was like hundreds of thousands.
Exactly.
But I feel like it was more like a way for him to just launder money.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, what else? But I love how we all have to play along.
And act like it wasn't that.
It's clearly money laundering.
Yeah.
And Biden's like, no, my son is just amazing.
Just like Kevin Nealon stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
He's actually pretty decent.
I know, right? Yeah. Also, Jamar Neighbors.
Jamar
Neighbors is incredible. Yeah, there's a lot of comedians that like, oh wow.
Kevin Christie, doesn't he do stuff?
Oh, does he? I don't know.
I think he's an artist.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's pretty talented.
Yeah, I don't have any. Do you have any other talents?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty. I'm always jealous of people who can sing and stuff like that.
I used to sing. You play the piano.
Yeah,
You're a double threat.
Yeah, I'm a double threat.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah, not really.
He was playing the piano, just tickling the ivories when I came in.
It. Yeah. It's a good party trick.
Where did you learn?
I taught myself.
Oh, really?
YouTube.
Really?
YouTube is great, man. You can
YouTube
learn
is great. You can learn anything.
Yeah.
Everything gardening, I've been just on YouTube.
Yeah.
And sourdough, learned it from YouTube.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of skills.
Especially during the pandemic.
That's crazy, though. You're really good. So what did
you
use to teach yourself? Was it like a program, or were you just cruising around videos?
Yeah, I would look up. You'd be surprised how many how-to videos that are on YouTube that teach you like how to play whatever on the. And I just learned a bunch of blues scales, a couple of chords, and then just a shit ton of songs. But I would it's part hearing and then part seeing what notes they're playing.
Wow.
Yeah, and then just through repetition.
Did you know how to read music?
No, I still do not know how to read. I don't know how to read at all. I don't know how to read music. I'm illiterate. The glasses are to throw people off.
I see.
Yeah. No, I still don't know how to read music though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's wild.
I was like, you could probably learn that on YouTube.
You can, yeah, but I'm good just with because it's more of like a hobby or a party trick or something that it's therapeutic too.
The ladies like it, I bet.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, and some men.
And some men.
Yeah, some men, yeah.
Yeah, the Hunter Biden stuff is, I feel like I've seen a couple, and then he was trying to claim them all because they got lost in the fires.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, talk about people that we do not have sympathy for. You know, it's like, and
Hunter Biden.
Yeah, Hunter Biden, rich people, it's like, oh, you lost your money laundering.
I felt bad for a lot of the people in the Palisades, but I waited tables out there. And so it was like, Altadena, anyone who loses everything, no matter what, it still sucks. Like, no matter what level you're at.
Well, I would
argue
some
levels are different.
I would argue that I think you get to a high enough level where if you have multiple houses, then you've lost one house. It's sad, but you got 4 other houses.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the thing. But again, a lot of the people that were affected were not rich people.
No, and even in the Palisades, they were like, it was a lot of old people who just lived there. And,
yeah, that was sad. Yeah, now that's sad.
And even like this one family recently, they lost everything in their house. They moved down to Manhattan Beach, and their 18-year-old son got hit and killed by a drunk driver. And like they don't have, like, it was like my aunt and I were talking about it. They don't even have like baby pictures because a lot of this stuff got lost.
Yeah,
so now you don't even have. So I saw a lot of that, like eat the rich kind of stuff, and I'm like, I get it.
No. Well, I think we have to separate again. When they say eat the rich, they're not talking about those people. Anybody that we just mentioned.
Yeah,
they're not. I don't think anyone.
I don't think people separate it though when they're like eat the rich.
Yeah.
Did you see the climate activists spraying the yachts?
No. What happened? A climate
They're
activist?
like climate environmentalists. They're spray painting all the yachts.
Oh yeah, did they take a private jet?
No.
To there? Because a lot of climate.
Like, oh, do they?
Well, AOC does.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Bernie, that was a whole thing.
No, these are just like activists.
Oh, these regular
Going
activists.
back to the regular activists. They're probably paid.
Probably,
but that cracks me up too, because so much of the kind of environmental panic, and this was always my issue, it was caused by people on yachts. Like Leo, perfect example. No one, he did that movie, The 13th Hour, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
He spread all of this stuff about how it was the end of the world. I'm like, no one really acts more like it's the end of the world than Leonardo DiCaprio. He's on, and like, you can't tell me this and then be filmed. I can't think of anyone who spends more time on mega yachts than you.
Yeah,
so
and he only has sex with 24-year-olds.
You can't
so there's a weird
tell me.
Yeah, there's something weird going on. Oh, you care about the environment?
You're not renewing. You're not recycling pussy.
Yeah, I thought you care about the economy. You just throw good pussy out. It's that's crazy.
It's all gonna be new pussy for you, yachts.
That's selfish. Yeah, and he is flying around. It's
you can't
weird.
have an old 40-year-old pussy. You're not going to
get a 32-year-old.
You're not going to a thrift store.
Yeah, it's like if you care about the economy, recycle. Yeah, you've got to. That's not eco-friendly at all.
No,
you're right. I think that's mostly a show, right? Don't you think that some of these celebrities have to do that because it looks good? Like philanthropy, rich people just give money away because it looks good.
Well, and they get tax. They get to write it off.
That's true. Yeah. That's
I think he probably believes it too.
Yeah.
He acts like he believes it. At least it's in alignment. Like, even if it's not environmentally healthy to be on a yacht because they guzzle so much diesel, it is insane. Or petrol or whatever they call it over there in the Med. And even if at least he's living like YOLO, like there's some cohesive, we're all going to die. So I've got the money to just live it up.
And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Yeah. You got it.
But did they not think that spreading this kind of fear to the plebs wouldn't, it's funny that they don't realize that it would eventually come to them. I feel like they thought they could just keep it at bay and be like, oh, maybe they'll recycle and they won't graffiti my yacht.
Yeah, that's not even real, right? Recycling.
I remember reading, I think the first New York Times magazine I ever read was in high school, and it was about how recycling was bullshit. So that was the 90s. 96 probably.
That's wild, yeah. It's all like, but I guess it's all like just so people can look like, this is how much I care, you know what I mean? Like you make movies about it, but at the end of the day, I do care about the environment. It's not like I don't want my grandkids to have breathable air. Yeah. So if you tell me or show me evidence that we are ruining the environment, then okay, I'll accept that. But if you're bad about pollution, one thing that I saw, a statistic that kind of reshaped my view of it was that, yeah, pollution is bad, but when you look at the overall, who's polluting, which countries are polluting, I think America is like 2%.
It's
like not
compared
even,
to like China.
China's
it's crazy.
90.
Yeah,
China's 90% of the. So let's say we just went completely green in America. There's still 90% pollution. So it's like we're not solving anything.
Yeah, and also it is a little bit like, I understand from their point of view the audacity of the West to be like, well, we did our polluting and we did this during the Industrial Revolution, and now that we're coming online, you guys are like suddenly care.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more of them than there were. Like it's objectively just a lot. And it's a lot of like, the like chemical industrial pollution from making everything for most of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. China is a threat. I mean, I think he's right about that. I'm not sure if the way he's going about it, I don't think blind tariffs on everything is, a way to fight it. But I think just the fact that China will soon take over as the world superpower.
Wasn't that a Bernie thing? Tariffs? Wasn't he for that?
I don't know. I think he probably was. There's a lot of overlap. I think early Bernie was very much, shared a lot of policy with Trump. Like he was for borders.
Yeah.
So at one point, I know because it's funny to call Trump Bernie's for borders.
Bernie with borders.
Yeah, Bernie with borders, which is hilarious. But if you go like way back to original Bernie, one of the things that drew me to him was he was a Democrat speaking honestly about we need borders. Obviously, immigrants coming over here hurts minorities of color. And then I think he got captured by what you'd call the woke mind virus. the most deadly virus.
The most deadly virus.
The coronavirus.
Every time I hear it, I die laughing. Even if it is like a thing, I can't take it seriously. Whenever Elon's like seriously tweeting about the woke mind virus, I'm like, can we calm down, please?
Oh my God.
What about the other mind virus that's rampant on your website? Anti-Semitism and racism.
Yeah. No, that's not. We got to get rid of the woke mind virus first. Then we'll get to the anti-Semitism.
The woke mind virus. It's just communism, by the way.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. You know, I love watching people get caught up. But there is too, going back to the grift thing of there's some people that hop on that language and then they're like all against the woke mind virus. And again, 2 seconds ago, you were telling me how Biden was the youngest person to ever exist. You know what I mean? Like he was so, behind closed doors. You know what I mean? He was so fucking exactly.
Yep.
And then things don't work out the way that you thought they would. And so now it's just very convenient. All these people that are anti-woke that were just pushing that. And I think it's important to lay a groundwork for people actually realizing their mistakes. Mm-hmm. But how much of it is people genuinely going, man, I had Trump derangement syndrome, which was a real thing.
Yeah.
How many is that versus?
It's as real as the woke mind virus.
Yeah. I'd love to see those two things under a microscope.
Yeah.
Like just, what does that look like? Did you ever hate Trump?
It's funny. I've been trying to sell a book for like a decade. Well, not a decade, probably since 2018. So I came into like the weird media scene when I started writing for Playboy in 2015. Unbeknownst to me, I thought I was just writing a fun sex column, which was like a dream, even though it was for Playboy. And I knew Playboy got political, but I didn't think I would have to. I was just not, again, wasn't an activist. I wasn't someone who went to like poli-sci in college. I didn't graduate from college. I just was a waitress trying to be a writer, and I did know a lot about sex. So felt like I had some expertise to write about that. Yeah.
Write what you know, yeah.
And I started writing about it, but because it was 2015, I had started getting on Twitter in like 2013 when I quit drinking and smoking and got addicted to Twitter.
Mm-hmm. As one does.
One does.
You just trade vices.
Yeah. It's like whack-a-mole when you're an addict. And I ended up merging into the culture wars and had no idea what anybody was talking about. And so I've been thinking a lot about this. And one of the things I was writing last night and what I've been saying is like, if you had told 2015 Bridget that 2025 Bridget was going to vote for Trump, I would have been like, oh, wow, I lose my mind in the future. Like, that's so unfortunate. Is there anything we can do to stop this?
Yeah, that's so funny. Wow, I go crazy.
Wow, so I go crazy in the future. It's good to know. I'm glad I have a heads up.
I guess, it's hard to see where you're going to end up.
Are you worried you have an STD? We've all been there, or maybe you haven't been there, in which case, get out there and have more sex. No, I'm just kidding. No one wants to think about STDs, but they are a reality if you're sexually active. Skip the doctor and buy your own STD and STI tests online with Quest. QuestHealth.com offers comprehensive STD panels and individual STI screenings with several collection methods. These are the same quality lab tests that doctors use, available to you, which is amazing, particularly for people on HMOs. Your results are delivered online quickly and discreetly. STD testing with Quest keeps the results off your insurance. You have the option to discuss them at no extra cost with an independent physician who may be able to prescribe treatment. Be responsible, guys, and prioritize your health with STD and STI testing on your terms.
And visit questhealth.com today. Use the code Phetasy to get 25% off and find answers to the multitude of health questions you may have. That's questhealth.com and use the code Phetasy for 25% off. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Detroit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were like a Bernie bro, how old were you?
Oh man, I don't know, what was that? I think I guess like 2016. I don't even know. Maybe like 20.
In your 20s.
Yeah, 22, 20.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
24, 25.
That's exactly when you should be a Bernie bro.
Yeah. Well, but by the way,
You're like,
I still
now I'm a Republican.
Well, no, I say this all the time. I'm not a conservative, but I am MAGA-curious, and so that's what I don't like labels.
Yeah.
But I'm a policy guy, so
Did you go to college?
No,
No.
and I just fell into politics. Kind of like I remember just I was like, let me just see, because I was like, I'm gonna probably speak on this in my comedy, so I shouldn't have a surface level understanding of what's going on. So I followed Obama. I was like, all right, yeah, he's black. And then that didn't really work out.
He's black.
Yeah, he's black. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I have to like this guy. And then that didn't work out as planned. And then by the time Bernie came along, I remember I was just kind of just not even involved. And I had a friend who was like, yo, you got to see this socialist guy. He's like this old Jewish guy. He's yelling about stuff, but he's like not wrong. And I'm like, all right. And I watch a YouTube thing. And that was the first time it really was put into perspective. Oh, like just being a Democrat doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Within a Democrat, it's like there's still the corporate wing. So we all thought, oh, I just vote Democrat because they care.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of them don't give a fuck.
No.
And so that was the first. That was my true political.
I think what I've come to realize is actually no one gives a fuck.
No one gives a fuck. Yeah, nobody. But that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of, and that's where we should be, I think, as comedians.
Yeah.
Because we have to poke fun at shit. We have to separate ourselves so we can then make fun of whoever it is, even if you like people. And so it's funny watching people not have the same venom for Trump when he clearly does something that Biden, if you know what I mean, it's like,
yeah, and vice versa.
Right. It's like, I don't like selective outrage. It's like I'm outraged across the board by stupidity, by corruption.
Yeah.
And so, but I think, Bernie was the first time I was like, oh, I agree with these things. Again, healthcare is a problem. I don't think that the answer is to just let people die. Yeah. And not help them. I think that there has to be.
Well, you'll come around eventually. Give it another decade.
Then I'm the one killing them. Not only I go so far the other way.
You'll be like, why are poor people so annoying? Anyway, next up.
I turn into Tom Segura. You either die young, you either die the hero, or live long enough to hate poor people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait. I'll embrace that time when it comes. But
You're
right
in your
now,
30s, so give it another decade.
No, but that's you care about people.
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, that's. I think that's what I, like
the
about
poor
your
people
comedy.
are the worst. No, I'm just
well,
kidding.
Listen, you're right. Like Bernie Sanders went on Fox News and they confronted him because he has a private jet.
Yeah.
And so it looks bad running around yelling about the oligarchy.
And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be here and there.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, my favorite line, was when he was like, well, you want me to wait in line at United? No. I was like, yo, that's... Yeah, all right, that's okay.
All right, you don't care about poor people either.
Fair enough, but no one does.
No.
And it's more, I think it's less he doesn't care. It's more, I don't want to be around them. It's like they should have health care, but I don't want them near me. But they shouldn't die from cancer if we can help it.
This is why I always talk to people when they're like yelling at me in my mentions because I'm making fun of Trump. I'm like, you are still sitting next to me and Coach. By the way, no one fucking cares about us. Like, my whole goal in life is to get out of Coach and ideally off of commercial. That should be your only goal in life.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Get further away from the pores. That's the ultimate.
We need to get away from the stink of the pores.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but I wrote about how all these people, what that was a surprising thing going into media, being in comedy and a waitress and all that stuff and hustling forever. And then kind of ending up in the media world, which is way more competitive. I actually think it's worse than Hollywood, which is saying a lot. And backstabby and insane and incestuous and weird. And they are all like, I don't know anyone in media who flies coach. Like, none of them do.
Why would you?
And many of them haven't since the 90s.
They're so far out of touch.
Yeah,
the Congress, during COVID is when it was really put on display how so far removed these people were. They're talking about whether or not to give people $600. Talking about that might be too much money. What the fuck can you do with $600?
Yeah.
It's like, that's gone. That'll be gone in like 2 hours. If you're just doing regular shit, just buying some eggs.
But it's nothing for them, so they should kind of know that. What would the $600 would be nothing to them too, even more nothing than it would be to someone who has nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would think for them who thinks of $600 like $6, that's what their round trip 1 hour first class flight costs.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was very strange to see. So I wrote this piece about how real America is the middle seat and coach. Because I'm like, everybody's always on these like talking heads and they're like, real America. I'm like, none of you guys know what fucking real America is, okay?
No.
Let me talk to you in a Waffle House at 2 a.m.
That's real. That's a great podcast, by the way. Waffle House, yeah. At 2 a.m. talking to the people.
Yeah.
That's where you get the real. I'd love Theo Von. Somebody get that to Theo.
That's really what my show that I'm launching at 2A called Real America is. That's the whole point.
Really?
To like
Wow.
get normal people on to talk to instead of just everybody in the media talking to each other.
It's a ridiculous echo chamber of rich people.
Yeah.
Talking to other rich people, to richer people.
To richer people.
And then about poor people. And we're never in the equation. No. We don't have a seat at the table. That's why the independent media became such a thing.
Yeah. Theo is good about that.
Theo's great, yeah.
He'll have a lot of like the kind of blue collar workers and just like normies on.
It's very random. I appreciate the spectrum. I think Rogan, I love Rogan. I'm a big fan. Great guy. But I miss that. I miss the wideness.
You don't agree with the bathroom graffiti?
No, I disagree. There's the bathroom graffiti on the wall. I disagree with that. Yeah. I say Rogan's a stand-up guy.
Yeah, he is.
But the people, politically speaking, have been very one-sided. Whereas Theo sat down with Trump and Bernie recently. He sat down with a garbage man and JD Vance. And so there is a true, like Candace Owens, and I watched every one of them. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. And I think, that's what we really need is conversations. Like, I'm not a part of the wing of, and the people that are like, we have to cut people off if they disagree with one thing. Going back to the trans thing, that's a big problem with, I think, liberal people, is they cut people off when they disagree with them on whether or not you should cut an 8-year-old's penis off.
MAGA does this too. Fair enough, though. There was very much that circle the wagons and cut anybody out. And then when Trump won, they were like, look at all these people, it's the podcast MAGA influencer space. It's like, no, you guys just didn't want to talk to anybody. Even somebody like me who wrote articles for Spectator being like, hey guys, to the left, I feel like this customer at a bar that got taken over by hipsters, and now you're only selling craft beers and you're ignoring me.
Yeah.
And if you're going to keep ignoring people like me who are just old school Democrats and not listen to anything that we have to say, you're going to lose those people. And I wrote that in like 2019.
Yeah. It's tough. You could see it. The writing was on the wall.
Yeah. And they were just like, no, don't want to hear it.
Well, and not only were they like, no, so many people were surprised when Kamala lost. It's just there's so many people. It's like it's funnier because Hillary, I can understand because nothing like that had happened. So when you're in the bubble and you're like, Hillary's going to win, and everyone's saying she's going to win, at that point, the media hadn't been that wrong.
Right.
You know, so you're like, of course I'm going to believe when everyone says that this thing is going to happen. And then when Hillary didn't win, I understand that shatter.
Right.
You know, in fact, there's a great book about it written by the Hillary campaign. It was called Shattered, actually. And but they detail what went wrong.
Shattered, not the glass ceiling.
That should have been. Not the glass.
Hillary Clinton's heart.
broken into pieces.
Yeah.
That was, but with the Kamala thing, how could you not a little bit see that coming? Even if you wanted her to win, how could you not go? But there's a strong possibility that Trump has done it. He already did it once.
Yeah.
So for people to be that shocked, and then Biden, the whole thing, I don't know. Have you kept up with what's been released as far as
today they're throwing Biden under the bus. They're just all coming knives out for him and saying that he stayed in too long, and he did,
Yeah.
but they all supported this and defended it.
Mm-hmm.
They being the media and the people around him. And they're on record saying this. This is one thing that, like, Stephen Miller, not the border guy, not the one who looks like a villain who works for the administration.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Miller online, he's a writer on Twitter who's actually great about, he's not MAGA. He's just pretty, I always call him the Rain Man of receipts, because that guy has been doing this for so long. He just remembers what everyone says and calls them out, and he'll be like, roll the tape. He's like, the problem with all these people saying that Biden is stayed in too long and that he hid it from them is that they're all on record saying he's fine and that they could vouch for him. Like,
yeah,
it's just an eternal kind of shameless, ever-present now in our system.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can just pretend you never said that and keep moving. And all the people, the pundits do it too. They can just keep kind of.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing. I don't think you can. I think you can do it if you want, but there's consequences that come with that.
It doesn't seem like
well,
it.
They lost.
Well, yeah.
They lost. No, these people are now shifting their feelings for Biden, but it's because that they lost so dramatically. And Kamala lost. So, which I go back and forth because people call it a landslide, which I agree. She lost states that normally a Democrat would win. But when you look at the districts, the number of people she lost actually wasn't by much.
Right.
Again, it was more of a snipe that Trump did. That's how he got the swing states. But each county, I think that there's a good argument to where if Kamala had done a couple of things different, she might have got those 1,000 of votes that she could have. So it was closer than people realize, I think. A lot of Republicans don't understand how close it actually was.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the benefit of getting that kind of messaging out early, is saying it's a landslide. Now that's stuck. And it was before all the votes had come in. And when you actually do look at the final numbers, it wasn't like this massive landslide.
No,
it's still a pretty
people.
Divided country. And like you said, in those like very important districts, it is.
She lost.
A couple thousand votes. I don't know what I don't know though. That's the. How did you decide to get into comedy?
I think it was just it was really a.
Because you were saying you got interested in policy because you were going to do jokes
I
about
found
this.
it
So
really
how
early.
long have you been doing comedy?
Well, I think my first set, I was 16.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
in Detroit.
In Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah, at a like a jazz kind of spot that was really cool. My friend's mom owned it, and I had been writing jokes because I had made the decision I'm going to try stand-up for weeks. And then my mom came home one day. She was like, what are you writing? And I was like, oh, I'm working on my jokes. Because I'm studying. I'm watching like Dave Chappelle, and Comedy Central back then was just on.
Yeah.
You know, always 24 hours. And so I'm writing it, getting it ready. And then I do my first set at the, which was like, I did 20 minutes, which is way too long.
That's amazing, though.
It was way too, but 2 minutes were good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 were good. And those 2 minutes, I think, is what gave me the confidence. And it was people coming up to me after saying that, like, there's something, you got something, you know, that gave me that's all I needed to hear. It was like, okay, I'll get better at this. And then I did. And then part of my political thing was like, I was like, oh, Chris Rock is, you know, on my top 5 Mount Rushmore comedians. He was very political. So I was like, I should know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I can get past the surface level.
It's funny, like he doesn't seem political to me now, even though I grew up.
He's not now.
Yeah.
But I think
he
back
was.
then, yeah, he had jokes when black people didn't really talk about Bush or Clinton. It's like, you know, he had them. Dave Chappelle also had.
Yeah.
But Dave was less political and more, you know, I just found like he's his own style, you know what I mean? Because he's making a point, but not really directly. But Chris Rock was like, you know, fuck this guy. This dumb mother. I don't know if we can curse.
You can curse. Yeah.
This is a family show.
No. Fuck families.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, but Chris, he joked about presidents and politics. And then I think Jon Stewart also was a big influence.
Yeah.
Just early Daily Show. My mom would watch that.
Yep.
And then I'd see her watching that, and that's how I got a lot of my views.
I think a lot of it influenced me way more than I know when I look at what I'm doing now. You know, I always wanted to be, I think my earliest dream was to be a writer. Then it was to be in Saturday Night Live because I was obsessed with it growing up.
Me too.
And that was like the gold standard. That's all I wanted to do was move to New York and be on Saturday Night Live. And I did. And then it never, and I've said this many times, it never occurred to me that I could be a stand-up comedian. I was obsessed with stand-up.
Wow.
And I memorized Delirious when I was like 13 years old.
Oh, wow. So you knew early too. That's the thing. I knew early, but I just didn't. I just was like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe more out of being naive. It wasn't, I think I was just kind of, I'm going to try this. You know, I was like, I felt free to make the attempt, mostly for my parents. I think that I got really lucky.
Oh, that's amazing.
I got really lucky with the people who raised me.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's something too, like there weren't that many. I mean, there was Roseanne. There was, but it seemed like, and I didn't really connect with them. Like I thought when I was in rehab, Chris Rock, which one? Bring the Pain.
Yeah. Oh,
it saved me. I just,
really?
Again, memorized it. I would just like watch it in this room alone. I was in this rehab with 40 women and it was a halfway house. And most of them were avoiding jail, and it was me, like in my Orange is the New Black scenario. And I would just like go in there and work out and listen to that on repeat. It was so brilliant.
So good. It's still brilliant, man.
Yep.
That's when I love it as a Chris Rock fan. That is when he figured it out. If we all have a formula, we're all constantly mixing it and trying to get the right recipe and the right ingredients. Bring the Pain is when it all came together.
Oh, it was just, I had it. So it was like Delirious and I just didn't, I loved Robin Williams. I thought he was a genius.
Yeah. But you didn't think you could do it?
I didn't think I could do it. Yeah. It just seemed like something that male geniuses could do.
Male? So you're saying that, I didn't realize gender played a factor. I thought you meant just that in theory, being a comedian is so far away. But you're saying a woman, a female comedian.
But it seemed like
there were plenty of women.
Yeah, there were some.
I don't know. I have
You're like, right?
Right?
I can't name one, but there must have been some.
There must have been some.
Well, there was Roseanne.
Ellen DeGeneres. Roseanne.
She wasn't really my bag. Roseanne.
Okay. But they were out there. I'm just naming
but
people.
But I do remember.
Yeah, like who were they? Yeah, Margaret Cho, Janine, Wanda Sykes, Sarah Silverman. Right? There are people that.
Sarah was really the first one that I was like, oh, maybe you can do this. But I was much older when I was even kind of became. Oh, I was probably in my 20s when I became aware of. Maybe not. Maybe I was younger. She was just kind of coming on the scene around then.
Well, what about Tina Fey? Because like that whole thing, as an SNL fan,
yeah,
I'm sure you saw that. Was like, oh, I could do that. Not to diminish
a little bit.
what she's doing.
I was pretty much. How old was I when she was on Saturday Night Live? Yeah, she was that. They were inspirational. But again, that was different. That was more improv.
Yeah,
it was like
stand up
was so specific to me, and I just didn't. I actually remember one time I got like experimentally sober, and I think it must have been like 2009 or 10, and some guy I knew who had fibromyalgia, which I thought was a fake thing. I still do.
Really?
No.
That's so funny.
It was just a weird thing for a guy to have. Like I associated it with like
he lied. Yeah,
Lady Gaga and shit, you know? Like I associated it with just like white women with borderline personalities. I don't know. It was just a weird thing for a dude to have.
Well, it's mostly women, right?
Yeah.
I get it. It's mostly women.
And so maybe it's just silent killer of men and you don't know it. But that was what I remember of him. And the fact that he was watching Whitney's first special, I think, what was hers, Money Shot?
Oh, Whitney Cummings?
Yeah.
What do you think of her?
I was like blown away that somebody hot could do comedy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was something that was like, oh, I just thought hot people weren't allowed to do comedy. Like hot women just did other things.
That's over, yeah.
That's so over.
Matt Rife,
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, that we're slowly entering a world where hot people can do comedy. And I don't like it. I mean, I guess it's good.
Yeah.
But still.
And I'm not saying like Sarah, who's oh my gosh, who's the queen, Melissa, Joan Rivers, thank you.
Oh yeah.
Joan, I love Joan.
Of course, yeah. Joan is a classic example of like, there were, I guess it weren't a lot of women killing it in comedy.
But
there were.
I mean, I hate to say this, but women are funny. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, come on.
I'm kidding.
We all were thinking it. We all were thinking it. Thank God you just told. I mean, I feel, because at first I was like, can we speak the truth here? Or.
And I say that as a woman in comedy. No, I did a set the other night, and it was in between. I followed Darius, who was absolutely killing, and he was just killing, being Darius.
Yeah.
And I'm a different energy
than
Darius.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're not a Detroit pimp?
No,
he's got Detroit pimp energy.
He does, and he also he's just he was talking about sex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hi, I'm a mom from the suburbs. So I was like, I'm going to be a different vibe. And then didn't go great.
Really?
It was one of those sets that made me rethink my life. And
where was this?
At Mothership. And then Nick Sapaglia got up after me, and he was like, don't worry, everything's fine. A man is back on stage.
A man is back. Oh, my God.
And everyone started dying laughing, and I was like, I could kind of feel that. It was a good joke.
How dare that guy? He's canceled.
Let's
start tweeting.
Don't
hashtag.
Cancel him. It was a great joke. I mean, he was
a man is
kidding,
back on stage. But was he? Well, it's funny because the audience
kind of true.
It happened to be true in that moment.
Every time I get up at Mothership, I feel the crushing disappointment that I'm not a famous drop-in. You know, it's like, you're not Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I think you're putting that a lot on yourself.
No, I'm kidding. I don't feel that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was like, they don't care.
No,
they're
they don't
happy
care.
to be there.
They're usually blacked out by the time I get there.
Yeah.
They're usually not even in their bodies anymore.
But do you think it's harder for women, attractive women who, for them to, like, how did you, I guess you had to struggle for you to be funny and to have a personality, I assume, right? Like,
I think.
Did you always have one?
No, I think I went through so much. It was mostly just like what makes people funny is hardship and being Irish. And so we had a family that grew up and like roasted each other. And there was a big premium put in our family on being funny. So even little, you knew like, there was a big premium on being able to like take a joke, and you didn't want to be the one that was like, oh, you're gonna go cry about it when somebody was roasting you. And so there was that. then there was just my natural obsession with humor as a kid. And I think my first real like case studies in comedy were Calvin and Hobbes, which I thought was brilliant, and The Far Side. Yeah. And I would just stay at home and like read those when I was sick obsessively over and over and over again. Yeah. And that feels like the early me developing a sense of humor. And Calvin and Hobbes is on such a pedestal for me because he didn't sell out. The guy was a genius. He did it, got out, didn't sell merch. Yeah. Like he was just truly like one of those artists that they don't make anymore. And
they don't.
Then I grew up in the golden years of Saturday Night Live.
Which were
like
I don't want to start
a war.
Argument.
I mean, I grew up with like Phil Hartman, all those guys in my high school. When I was in high school, and even like Conan, I always joke like Conan saved my life in high school because I just
Conan was great. Conan is a big part of my comedic influence.
Yeah, he was so I mean, truly life saving to me with lots of stuff. There was just a lot of stuff going on in high school.
And you mean that literally life-saving?
Yeah, literally life-saving. Yeah. Like there would be days where I'd be like, I think I'm gonna I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then I'd be like, but I can't do it before Conan. I at least have to wait until after Conan.
You got to tell him that if you ever
I actually did sit next to him at a bar and I was able to tell him that.
What did he say?
And he was like, "That's so cool." And he's from Boston, and it's just like I have that New England thing, and so I think it was a big evolution. But for me, it took me a long time to even understand I could be a writer, which was something that I just like. It's like breathing for me. It comes pouring out of me. So comedy was another thing and then it was just a lot of hardship. Yeah. And trying to just laugh my way through it. I don't, so I don't think that it was like a struggle in the sense that I've never felt like, really, we were trying to write jokes the other day and I was like, I wish I was black sometimes because I was like, I just feel like you really get to be yourself.
That's
up
so
there.
Funny. Yeah, I wish I was gay. We all wish we were something. I wish I was a trans handicapped woman. You know,
they
really
say
get to
whatever
have.
You want.
Yeah, they get to have all the fun.
Really?
No,
I feel like
no.
And
no,
it's one of those things where I'm like, black men get up there and it's the swagger. There's just some swagger.
What is that? I don't know.
I don't know.
White people have
big
it too, right?
Big dick energy or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, they don't. Some white people do, but it's rare.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. I'd say that, John Mulaney has it.
Yeah.
John Mulaney has black swagger. Yeah, he does, ironically enough. The whitest man ever.
Shane does too.
Shane. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's almost like, bro, you trying to be black? But I know it's authentic. I know it's authentic. Yeah. So it's like, that's why it's pure and it's great.
So I guess too, for me, because I idolized black male comedians before any other comic, it was Eddie Murphy first. He was just the...
Eddie, what about Richard? Did you ever go?
Richard, I went in the darker years. Like when I was on heroin, I got into him.
Okay, I like how you fit your comedian with the...
with my drugs.
So in the 80s, what you were doing a lot of spandex or a lot of leather? You and your leather.
Yeah. It was brief and then a little, it was like I was reading a lot of Dostoevsky and watching Pryor. So I'm like, this probably isn't great for like paired with chasing the dragon.
Wait a minute, you were reading Dostoevsky? What is it?
Dostoevsky.
Dostoevsky, I can say it while doing heroin?
I was really into it for whatever reason.
Listen, man. That's great. I've actually never heard that experience. I mean, I'm glad that you kicked it, but that's I've never heard. Usually people, do drugs like that and they're not reading a book, let alone like diving into.
I was a weirdo though about that stuff. Like when I was doing meth, I would do the New York Times crossword obsessively until I couldn't. Like I'd be at a rave in the corner with the New York Times crossword trying to do it.
You at a rave and oh my God, that's like doing Molly. and then doing a crossword puzzle. It's like,
so dumb.
Yeah.
Because I was such a good kid. I actually was like a good kid who got into drugs. And
What
I like
happened?
never really, my parents, I mean, simple answer, my parents got divorced, I think. Yeah.
And then that's led
Are your
you
parents
down.
still together?
My father passed away, but they were. And so
sorry.
thank you. Yeah. But I feel very lucky because he was in my life.
Yeah.
Showed me what it was to be a man, a father, a husband. So I feel lucky that I had that example.
They do all these studies now that it's like the biggest benefit. The 2-parent advantage is the biggest advantage across money, across culture, across anything. It's more important than pretty much like you can be poor and have 2 parents and you'll be better off than a rich kid with
I know.
separated parents.
I'm sure we both know a lot of rich
fuck
kids.
ups.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, so no, I do think that's helped ground me in my time, in Hollywood and just this industry in general.
So you were in Detroit. When did you move to LA?
When I was 20.
Okay.
So I did comedy so I did comedy on and off.
And how were you making money?
I wasn't at first. I was doing background work when I first got there, and then 6 months into me in LA, I got the job at the Comedy Store.
Oh, right.
And so that was kind of, and then the Comedy Store from there, I met everyone else, and then it just kind of went snowballed from there. But the Comedy Store for me was the point where I was like let in, embraced, and that's my home.
Yeah.
And then so the mothership is a nice kind of
like
home away from home.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's really better now. But
why did you move here?
I just simply for the scene. I mean, the scene here, people shit on it. And it's like, I understand. I hear Tim Dillon talk about the infrastructure here. He talks about the town, the food, and, all the things that are bad. But he's never talking about, the stage time here.
Yeah.
It's always and I agree. He makes a lot of good points where the living conditions are probably better elsewhere. But
if you're rich, sure. Like, yeah, he's rich.
Yeah, so he doesn't
I hear
really,
these guys talk. I'm like, you're all rich.
They're rich. But this is the city has already grown just in comedy. There's 5 clubs here.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just right on the street, we can walk to 5 different clubs. I've been in LA, I've been in New York, and it doesn't exist in Los Angeles. And in New York, there's a bunch of clubs, but if you're not Mark Norman or Dave Attell, you're not bopping around. You're not getting up 8 times a night. But here you can I'm getting up like 7 times a night sometimes.
Yeah.
Not even by the mothership. People think it's all mothership.
Yeah.
You can just do, and that's what's always driven me. Is like, where can I go? And I have a good support group here.
Yeah.
I get paid here. I can do comedy. So that was my thing.
Yeah, it was. I saw like that whole thing that was going viral where they were talking about Austin and how it's done and all this stuff and how it sucks. And I'm like, well, you're single. I mean, first of all, it would be very hard to come from New York to here.
Yes.
Like LA to here is just this kind of smaller LA from my perspective. Maybe it is. I don't know.
It's LA with more stage time and less Hollywood. There's still some. But it's, you know what I mean? It's very much weeding itself out.
Yeah. New York is like such a different energy. It would be very hard to come from like that chaos to, unless you wanted to get away from the loud, chaotic New York. New York is its own thing.
I loved New York.
I love it.
I loved it, but I wasn't, I moved here from New York. I went from LA to New York to here. And in New York, really what did it was I'm paying half my rent for more space. So I'm just like, here, I'm paying half of what I was paying in New York.
Right.
I had a shoebox in New York, but I could walk to the cellar. I was in a good town. But it's like, at the end of the day, all of my money's going to rent. Mm-hmm. It's such an expensive city. So the quality of life here, for someone that's not rich, is better. Yeah. You know what I mean? I understand if you're a millionaire already and you got money, fine. Yeah. You can shit on it. You can be
those are the people who are shitting on it, though.
Yeah.
They're rich people.
For sure.
I'm like, as someone for me, coming from somewhere, because I took a break from comedy.
Right.
And so coming from LA to here, we made that decision for many reasons, and it was hard to make because we were leaving family support behind. But then, and I didn't have any support when we moved here, but it was just automatically giving our daughter a better quality of life. Just by sake of now I'm a homeowner, which I couldn't have done in a million years in LA and certainly not New York.
I mean, it's possible, but it's so, you have to be so wealthy.
Yeah, you have, and I was not there, and it's like it just wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. So we ended up coming here, and it's been just like everyone's thriving, you know. And it's so much better for her and so much help. I was like, I don't want to raise her in LA. I don't want to raise a kid in Los Angeles. It's just it's like its own thing, and it's weird. And
I'd raise a kid in San Diego.
Yeah, I would too.
San Diego's great.
Yeah,
but like not LA.
Yeah. There's just too much. So we were like,
this is better though.
We're like a middle class. People are like always push back. They're like, you're not middle class. I'm like, if you knew my everyone assumes because I've like been on Rogan that I'm a millionaire. I'm like, if you knew my actual finances, you would know that I like actually what it works out to on the books is I am textbook definition middle class. Yeah. And I'm like middle class in America is amazing. It's an amazing,
you know, it'll almost be extinct. It's a dying breed. You know,
I mean, I hope not. I think there are a lot of numbers that show the middle class is actually still thriving and does well and has improved, even though a lot of people like to say it's been hollowed out. If you actually look at the numbers, it's not really true. The middle class does still exist. The wealth disparity is getting more intense. Right. But there still is a middle class. There might not be.
No, there still exists. We agree. It still exists currently. It just, you know, with that wealth gap, baby, it's like,
they're
I don't know.
Not for long, bitches.
Well, I mean, yeah, what else is there? You know, I like to look ahead, you know, like a lot of what's happening now is just foreshadowing and things will either get worse or they'll get better. And that's what really drives me politically is like joking around is fun. And ultimately, I don't really care. But, if I can have a hand in saying, hey, I think we should actually make this better and address it, because it's like, why is the middle class going away? And a lot of that is these politicians. And I feel this strongly too, from Detroit, black area. Yeah. They're like voting for these people and they think that they're just by casting a ballot for a Democrat, they're like, that's it. And I'm like, no, that like, I would argue with my dad. But he's of a generation, and it's across the board. If you're a black man of a certain age, you just do not fuck with like a more radical. Anything that you see is radical, right? Yeah. Because you know, going back to Bernie, it's not that radical to suggest that people shouldn't go bankrupt. Yeah, healthcare. That's not radical at all. But for people like my dad in that generation, they saw niggas get shot like systematically. Yeah. So they're like, hey, there's only so much we can push this. And so that's why they went with Biden in 2020. A lot of the people were just kind of like, I don't really fuck with Trump. So I'm just going to go with Biden, even though he's not great. No one thought he was great. Yeah. No one thought this guy was amazing.
He was just kind of status quo.
Yeah, it was it. And for black people, we are stunted politically and consciously. You know, we have not grown that much at all in those areas.
And why do you think that is?
They murdered a lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people got murdered, and then you know, we got a black president. So it was a mix of people got murdered. They gave us a black president. We were like, okay, cool. That actually calmed us down. The pacifier in chief. You know, somebody called him that, but I was like, that's a perfect word for him. Yeah. He pacified the community he was supposed to pacify, and it did work, because a lot of that anger that people had during the Bush years that had built up from the 60s was released a little bit in the Obama win. And then they felt so attached to him, and now you can't even really, now actually you can, because we've moved so far away from him that he's lost his magic, but there was that time where he was just untouchable.
I mean, think of like what a rebuke to his legacy Trump winning again is. It's just like, Jesus. Yeah. Everyone's like, why is Michelle so mad? I'm like, well.
Yeah. What? I'd be mad too.
Yeah. I think anyone in her position would be mad. But legacy's been kind of trampled and.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's their own doing because they didn't give way for what the next thing would have been. You know, like Bernie represented a counterweight to what Trump was.
Right, like the populist energy that's rising up.
And instead of letting it battle out and go, all right, they picked their populist guy, we got ours. Let's go. Put it up to the country. You know, I believe I would have loved to see that. And I still hope we get to one day.
I mean, we might. We might have a Bernie Trump election in 2028.
Oh my God. Are these guys ever going to die? I mean, we might. You're not wrong. You're not wrong if both of them are still alive.
Trump will be like, I can do a third.
Yeah. I know he's joked about it, but he probably would do it if he's healthy enough.
And Bernie will be like, I'm in.
Bernie's still sharp, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
So it's like, it's not even an age thing. Going back to Biden, it wasn't ageism to show his decline. I mean, the guy, it's so funny. And I remember arguing with my dad because it was in 2020, it was obvious.
Yeah.
In 2020, and I'm arguing with people. I'm like, for the love of God, look at this man. Look, this is him 8 years ago.
Yeah.
This is the guy you think that you're voting for, but he's gone.
Yeah.
That guy's gone. This was in 2020, but they didn't care. And I do believe that that's why he won, because people talk about it was stolen from Trump, you know, where it's like, I understand that. I think I want to hear your thoughts, because the one of the biggest glaring things for me with Trump is the fact that, like, bro, I feel like you did lose in 2020. And I understand doubling down, saying it was fraudulent, because that's what they did to you.
Yeah.
But two wrongs don't make a right. And this is pettiness to me, because I know I talked to a lot of people that in 2020, they didn't really like Biden, but they were just fed up.
Right. And
then people go, where did those people go? Because now the talking point is, well, in 2024, millions of people didn't vote, and they were mad. You know, it was like a mystery. Where'd they go? Right. We had 4 years of Biden.
They died of COVID. No, I'm just
kidding. They died. They all died, yeah.
No, but what were you saying? We had 4 years of Biden.
4 years of Biden. That's what happened. And so they said, all right, well, we're not going to show up for this guy.
Well, I think, too, the interesting, like, it was hard around 2020 because there was so much mail-in ballots, and there are shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's easy to say, like, have there been shenanigans with mail-in ballots? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think that was stolen? Not in the way that he accuses it of being stolen.
No,
like,
he's not.
That's been proven not to be true by many courts, and many even, like, being sued by Dominion. You know, I think if anything's going to come out, it's going to come out in discovery.
Absolutely.
In a lawsuit like that for multi-millions of dollars. And I think I'm more in alignment with something like Ben Shapiro always used to say. It was like the suppression of the media and of the like Hunter Biden laptop story right before the election.
That is a form of messing with the election, right? But he's not.
But not in the way that it was not.
He's not saying that. He's not being nuanced with it.
No, he's like, this shit was stolen. So were there shenanigans? Probably. Did the media and tech and all these companies,
for sure,
yes. People always ask me too. I was on a podcast and they're like, how do you feel about him pardoning the insurrectionists? And I was like, I feel the same way about January 6th now as I did then, which is I don't care. For some reason I'm like,
I love one of the guys he pardoned immediately got shot by the cops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got into like an altercation.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that.
Yeah, that was it's so funny. It's like, man, you get out just to die.
Yeah.
For some unnecessary shit. Whatever it was not necessary. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where it's like, I'm on the cop side. As a black person, it's weird for me to be like, oh, no, you deserve to get shot. There's a lot of stuff. Right? Like,
it feels like everything. I mean, even when you look at those numbers, Trump got so much. Didn't he get more black support?
He increased his black support.
And Latino, young men.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, part of this, I think, and it's it's the part that they actually have somewhat been trying to look at, although they're trying to fix it with like David Hogg, which I don't understand. And now they're trying to like take his vote away or whatever. They're trying to make they're trying to take David Hogg out of his position and renounce his.
Why?
I don't know. He went on Mar and said that like guys just want to get pussy or something like that.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No. So
he spoke the truth?
Yeah. And so now they're canceling him.
That's what happens when you speak the truth.
And so I do think the like underreported problem is just how much animosity the left-wing Democratic Party had and fomented for men in general of all races. Sure. Just like being anti-male kind of came back to bite them in the ass.
What did they think would happen?
Yeah.
After years of saying you're misogynistic, you're a rapist, you're this, you're that, you're like, you're a coon if you're black and you're like speaking out against Obama. So they just did all this stuff to black men specifically, and then men in a broader sense. It's like, of course you lost them, and they thought they could replace it with women, but it's like women didn't even vote for Hillary.
No,
like women.
I didn't.
So it's like,
I voted for Hillary. I didn't vote for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but women, I think you're one of the minority that voted for him, because women overwhelmingly, I think, voted for Trump.
Yeah, but I was still like, I was still just in default setting, like in my factory settings.
Wow,
I really was not like.
So what did you think of Bernie though? Because Bernie was out back then. You were just kind of like, nah, Hillary's the.
I just didn't. I was like, I think I really thought it would be cool to. I don't even think I was thinking. I don't even think I knew that much about Bernie. Mm-hmm. Even though I knew what they did to him later on, I don't think I could. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna. I had cousins who really liked her, and I think I liked her I read some book where about what she did to. Okay, here's the truth. When I was in rehab, I read a book about a woman who experienced genital mutilation, and it was all about how much like Hillary helped save her. And that was like the only thing that stuck in my mind about Hillary. Wow. I knew, and then I had a cousin who drunk dialed like her the Democratic headquarters to like volunteer, and we all thought it was hilarious because she was so obsessed with her.
That's so funny.
And I was like, maybe it'll be cool to like vote for the first female president,
which was a big part of Obama. I mean, that was like a black thing. All right, this black guy.
And I remember, so just ecstatic voting for Obama.
Hillary? Oh, Obama, yeah.
Yeah, those and just getting blackout drunk and it was such a party, and just felt like.
I regret not voting. I probably should have voted for Obama, just so I can say that.
Did you not vote for him?
I just didn't vote.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I've actually never voted. It's so funny.
Oh. I voted. I tell people, I've been trying to tell people on stage, I'm like, I don't care who you voted for. I'm completely incoherent. I voted for Hillary and then no one in 2020 on the top of the ticket, and then Trump.
Yeah, wow.
So I'm
that's a great.
Yeah, evidence the 19th Amendment should be repealed to some.
No, but I think I'll vote for somebody at some point, probably.
So you just haven't voted.
I thought about it. Clean. I thought it's a thought that counts when it comes to voting.
Also, you can say, here's the thing that I get all the time where people go, this is what you voted for. Because I was open about voting for Trump, and they'll be like, this is what you voted for, Bridget. I'm like, you know how much blood is on my hands? Even voting for Obama, even voting for like people, pretty much any American president.
Yeah.
So if you don't vote for an American president, you can be like,
that's good. I'm going to start saying that.
There's no blood on my hands.
Mine, it was just out of laziness. It was just kind of like, I didn't feel like
You're
it.
Like I didn't register in time.
Well, honestly, what happened was I was too young the first time Obama ran. I just couldn't. And then the second time I was old enough, but it was up against Mitt Romney. And I just was like, he doesn't need my help.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got this. And he did. He had it.
He's got this.
He did have it.
Do you still go back to Detroit a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, whenever I can. It's easier. Another great thing about Austin
is that close to everything.
Yeah, you're just so close. Yeah, you could go anywhere. I was just in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I went back home, and then I'll probably be back again pretty soon. Yeah, it's great. And then you're from
it was great for us because we were like, should we move when we were considering leaving LA? I was like, should we go close to my family, which is on the East Coast? And then part of the thing, then I'm like, then we're in the same problem with your family that I've been in with mine, which is we're 5 to 6 hours apart. And so part of the appeal was living here was just being able to get anywhere in America in like 2 or 3 hours is amazing.
That's it, yeah.
So especially having a little one and flying with her, it was just like, oh shit, the like 6-hour flights are getting, it'll be easy to like, let's knock this in half. So it's been great. Like everything is trade-offs.
Yes,
you know?
Right.
I love that these guys can sit down and have that conversation, which someone sent to me and they were like shitting all over Austin. And I'm like,
who were these? Who said it?
It was Tim and like Mark and Sam. And Mark and Sam, that was going around last week. But I'm like, you are sitting there shitting on Austin after half of Los Angeles just burned down. Like, it's just so funny that.
Also, they all come here. They all do Kill Tony. They all do Rogan. They would be nothing without Rogan. Right? I mean, so it's like you're shitting on the Rogan's kingdom. So they all would literally be nowhere. I mean, but that's very much a fact.
Yeah.
I was a fan of all of them before Rogan.
Yeah.
They were not selling out.
Yeah.
So that Rogan bump is real. Yeah. And then, but did you experience that? Like when you first went on Rogan? How'd you meet him?
Comedy at the store.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Comedy Store.
Yeah. And that's where we met too first. Because I was around there, and then 2019 things just got weird for me in the culture, and I got insecure about being around my comedy friends.
What do you mean?
I was saying things online, and like my friends were unfollowing
things
me.
Like what? Like just
making
there's a difference between men and women?
Yeah, pretty much.
Say it like
and they were saying I was right wing, and I'm like, I'm not fucking right wing. I'm just saying you guys have a problem. I was saying everything that everyone's saying now, which like leftists and even people in left wing media are allowed to say. I was saying in 2015, but it cost me friends and like
wow.
I regret it because it kind of scared me off stage. Like I wasn't established enough in comedy to have the confidence to just keep going while friends of mine unfollowed me on Twitter who were people that I saw in real life. Right. I was like, this is so weird and awkward. Like I see you all the time. And
that's so weird.
It was very weird. It was a weird time in comedy. It was like just it was getting strange. And if you were already kind of big and established, you could just like it didn't seem to I just wasn't confident enough. And I never really felt like I belonged at the Comedy Store, even though I was always around there. It just was, I always felt like
it's a weird vibe.
Like jail vibes to me.
Yeah.
You know, it was very much like, I remember I didn't know anything and I like sat in one of the chairs in the back in the OR and one of the comedians was like, you can't fucking sit here. You're not passed. Like I was like, I didn't even know.
Yeah, you don't know. No one knows that they get so, it goes through their head where they're like, they get so territorial where it's like, if you've never seen this person, then why don't you tell them nicely, hey, just letting you know, right? But there is a weird, what do you call it? Fraternity kind of thing that they got going on there, which interestingly enough doesn't exist at the mothership. Yeah. You know, it's way more open and it's less of a frat. And mothership feels like more of a clubhouse. Yeah. You know, like there's no comedy club like it. Yeah. So it's just incredible that the vibe, you really do feel like if you can make it in the door. The hardest part is getting past the SEAL Team 6 with the fucking, and they're on their job. I love those guys. Yeah. They do not mess around. But if you make it past them, you're in. And it's such an inviting place. The Comedy Store at some moments in time was very much pushing you away, energy that had like repulsive energy. Yeah, it was, and I kept kind of pushing through it, and there were comedians that I was coming up with who just never even went there, and they were kind of told by people around them like, you don't need to go there. There were just like there was a whole alt scene that was like, you don't need to do it, you don't need to go there. But I loved the comedians that were performing there because it was more my style of comedy than just the kind of alt.
I'm like, I want the dark and gritty
By the way, talking about the Comedy Store, I was just back recently. They have a new booker who I know she would love you. I don't know if you know.
Rose.
Do you know Rose? Yeah. Oh yeah. You got it. Rose is great.
She's the best. And I knew her back from being around. She was always so sweet to me. And I started doing comedy in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So I started already late. And I've written about this. I'm like, you don't start comedy in your 30s. You start when you're 20 and you're dumb and you're confident. You don't start when you're like the beginning of a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And
but
so,
there's no rules.
No. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying I was aware that like the young 20-year-olds, whippersnappers had a level of confidence that I probably had in my 20s, but I wasn't doing comedy
just
then.
Dumb young. I did. I had that for sure.
Just dumb young.
There was no reason for me to be getting on stage.
Yeah.
At 21, at 20.
And at 35, you're like, what am I doing? And I'm starting at open mics. And it was so intimidating, but I knew I kind of had to do it. And so I already started pretty late and was already feeling behind. So by the time it came around, I was like 5 years in. And then I got sober in 2013 because I knew that I couldn't do comedy and keep drinking, that like those two things couldn't exist. So part of the reason I even got sober was in service of comedy. But then I didn't realize I had massive stage fright. I didn't even know I had. I was just drinking it away.
Oh,
so I got sober and I was like, holy fuck. And so it was like, I started over again, basically, and had to like overcome all this truly debilitating stage fright that was like crippling. And then 2015 hit and I was like, I just didn't have the confidence. So I kept going, but I didn't have the confidence. I was grinding for years. And then by 2019, I was building more of an online audience. And I was like, I'm just going to focus on that.
And that's a good instinct. That was a great instinct.
Because then 2020, I was waiting tables and trying to be a comedian. And I pivoted out and I was like, I'm getting paid to write. I'm going to focus on this. And then I'm going to focus on building my online audience. And started building that. And then, so when 2020 hit, I had already started a podcast, which I started in 2018. We had dumpster fire going in the garage. So we were set up for COVID.
Yeah.
Like, thank God. Wow. If I had been doing waiting tables and doing comedy, I would have been completely fucked out of 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I'm not going to go back. But I kind of moved here. Like, I saw Mothership when it was being built. Like, before it was, and I was like, I can see myself on that stage. I have to work towards it. And I had to start over again. And when I quit doing comedy or took a break, I was single, didn't have a baby. I was doing jokes about blowjobs and being single. And then I started again and I had a baby and a husband. And I'm like, I have to write all new. I've literally got to start over.
That's so funny. Yeah.
So I started over.
Talk about a change in brand.
Oh, it was, I mean, completely.
Wow.
Yeah, I was at Playboy. It was that. So I started over
but now
again.
You're a MAGA mom.
And now I'm a MAGA mom.
MAGA mom. Hashtag
MAGA mom. It's probably a Peloton hashtag. I'm going to check tonight on my Peloton. And that is so much of the stuff that I joke about now. Is like, if you told me this, that there's no way I would have got sober. But I don't know. I feel like I've had to start over in this. I love the community here so much.
Yeah, it's fun. It's great.
And I love how many, because I'm basically like, not new, obviously. It's not like I did it for almost 10 years before I took a break.
Right. You're starting over.
So it's not starting over from scratch, but because I'm at the level of so many people who are new, just hierarchically in the community, which always exists in stand-up wherever you are, I get to hang out with like all the young comic energy, which I fucking love so much. And they're actually supportive here.
They are. They're not supportive in LA. I love the store. I love the Comedy Store, but it's not a community.
Yeah, that's what I love about Rebecca and Creek in the Cave.
Right.
Is that she is like the mom. It's like she reminds me of like it's like the Lost Boys, you know? I feel like I'm like
this is the place. What's great about Austin is that
She's like
Creek in
Wendy.
the Cave. Yeah, she provides a place for the plebes and the new and the brand spanking new people, and then to also be able to be in at the mothership where it is an A club. I think those two things is what makes a good scene, and to go back and forth freely.
Yeah,
you don't want to just be hanging out, with new people. But you don't also just want to be isolated.
People here either, because then it'll be like Shane will shoot a special here. You never know who's gonna like pop up on, because I think.
I just mean he's not hanging out here.
Yeah, well, Rebecca's such. Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say is someone who's, like, because I've been on Rogan, famous enough to be it to be a little unsettling. Even I did a show here, and someone was like, "I followed you here from LA."
I was there. I did that.
Oh,
I was
you were here, yeah.
But by the way, let me just stop and say that, like, you showed me a level of success that I didn't even know was possible. Like, most comedians just want to fill a room, but you have such a dedicated fan base. Not only will they buy a ticket, they will uproot their lives and move to the city that you moved to and support you there. This woman.
She was very sweet.
That was crazy. Your fan base is amazing.
But I will say, I can understand why if you're someone like Shane, you would hang out there because of SEAL Team 6.
Of course, you want to go there.
My husband feels better when I'm there because he knows they'll walk me to and from my car.
Yes.
He knows that, like, he's like, you're like in that in between where you're not famous enough to have like,
right.
It's like that weird gray area.
Yeah. I mean, come
where
on.
He's like, I don't know. I get nervous there. And the one reason that I kind of backed out of comedy was because it's the only time I have to locate myself, which I don't love doing. But if I feel safe here too. They're very they were like hyper even after I left that night, they were like hyper aware of what they're always kind of like making sure the comedians are okay and what's going on and what's going on.
I think that's again another part.
They don't have like, like I don't know. It's always like a little when I go to other places, I'm always like somewhat more stressed about security than I maybe should be, but it's just me being naturally.
No, you should be. You have fans. Yeah. You have fans that are traveling to see you. So it's like you got to be a little cautious. You should have a barrier because you never know when somebody's like, "Hey, I want to wear your skin. I love you so much." It's like that's So it
is nice to have that level of safety too here. I think.
Yeah.
It is. I will say, like, it's so just loving and warm and supportive, and I did not feel that in LA.
It's not there, and it's not in New York too. I experienced that a little bit. It's like it's not, people hang out there, but it's not you can't grind really. Like the New York grind is so brutal because again, it's like if you're not Dave Attell, you're not doing 8 spots a night. You're working 2 jobs to maybe do 4 spots a week.
Wow.
That's the New York grind for most people. And just to put it in perspective, if you're not Mark Norman, of course Mark Norman is gonna be like, New York is great, It's like comedy, but it's like
comedy, am I right?
Comedy, vaginas, or queefs. That's what he says.
Queefs.
But like, here is from a more ground up level, and there's more creativity here. What I mean is that I'll watch some of the door guys at the mothership, and it's like, they're doing some. I like watching comedy. I'm a fan of comedy.
I like watching it too.
And there's also here at the Creek, the Banana Phone show is one of it's for me, it's giving early roast battle. It reminds me, because I saw that. I saw Kill Tony.
Yeah.
At the comedy store. At the comedy store. Yeah. And it's just kind of like
both those shows.
It's a kind of grungy, kind of like, this is clearly run by comics for comics. And then eventually Kill Tony blew up into what it is now. But in the beginning, it was just comics fucking around.
Well, that's what I want Ask Me Anything to be.
Yeah.
Which you seemed to have fun when you did it. You were great on it.
That was fun. Yeah.
I would love to like. That's how I envision it. Is it's a place where you get to mess.
I thought you were gonna come back on it, and then we all fuck with the crowd. But I still had fun fucking with the crowd too.
I mean, I could do that. It's so new. It's like such a baby show. I can do anything I want really with it. And right now we're just kind of in that very new idea. Like play with it, find a good time for it. But that's how I see it. Is you get to like maybe. I watched one of our friends get up and do something, and I was like, dude, that is a hilarious premise. She just went off on a tangent, and it was like such a good premise for a joke. And
you need that.
Yeah, and I mean, Tommy Pope just fucking killed. His interactions with the crowd were just hilarious. So I'm hoping it's like good clips for people because now everybody's got to do the fucking clips game.
It's so silly.
It's so silly.
But
we got to do it.
You have to do it. Oh, speaking of which, this is a great day for me. We hit our first million in a clip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which one?
It was the one I was talking about Texas. Me and my co-host, we spoke honestly about living in God's country. And
he said he hated it.
He did.
I watched this. Oh, I shared it.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So you helped us hit 1 million.
Oh yay!
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Thank you. And I mean, it's just a clear indication to what I already know, which is what I respect about what you're doing. Also, Dave Landau is like, it's this new space where more center kind of grounded comedians that aren't on the fringe. It's like everyone is fucking either Ben Shapiro or AOC.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're either like kill all Palestinians, or they're like death to all Jews. You know, it's like, where's the fucking, you know what I mean? That middle ground of, all right, let's reel it back in. And I think that's, people respond to that. You know what I mean? Like and that's hopefully, I'll be able to build a career.
Yeah. I think you're building it.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Tell us, well, before we wrap up, what's your biggest defect of character?
Probably that I'm not good enough at lying. Like I'm very much, it's hard for me to mask if I don't like somebody, and that hurts me in the business. Yeah. And I also have a short temper, not temper, I have a short patience
fuse
short fuse for incompetence.
Yeah.
It's like, it just, so to me, it's so unnecessary. When somebody does something and it's like, that was so unavoidable. Yeah. And, but I think patience is something that I've gotten way better with, just being, all right, let people be who they are. And, in any form, whether it's a stranger saying their political view or a partner, where it's like we're being romantic, and then, she says something dumb, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say that it's dumb. Maybe I should just keep that to myself, which I learned a lot.
Once you're married, you can say it.
Is that what marriage is? Okay, yeah. That's great.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe you changed my mind about marriage then. So if I can
my
tell.
My husband will be like, nah, do you want me to be nice to you, or do you want me to be honest?
Yeah.
I'm like, be honest.
Well, that was a thing in my longest relationship. That was a thing of like, I did not understand sometimes that
a woman just needs you to be nice to her.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. It's like you have to. You don't need to say everything.
Like, are you on your period or not?
You don't need to. You probably shouldn't say that. But that's a good lesson for life too, in Hollywood too. It's like, it's really more about what you don't say. But there's a fine line too, because I think with art, what really speaks to people is authenticity. It's like being authentic. So it's like, what do you actually tell me? What you really believe. So I think it's a superpower in comedy, but on the business side of just networking and being around, it's like, it takes a lot to be that person. Like, one of the people that were great at it was Gerard Carmichael. I would remember at the store, I'd see him going around shit. He was like a fucking politician.
Yeah.
How he made everyone feel good. And I've always been envious of that. It's like, oh man, if I do not like you, it's hard for me to make you feel like I like you.
Yeah.
It's really tough. But
do you find that it's as hard to lie to yourself?
In what way? Like
I feel like as somebody in the arts, there's a certain level of delusion that's required to even do what we have to do.
Yeah.
And I never really know when. Sometimes I wrestle with like struggling with, am I lying to myself, or is it the appropriate amount of delusion that I need to succeed?
Because it's a mix. You do need some delusion.
Yeah, you need a lot. I mean, in certain cases, I think I might need more.
Right.
Because I see people who I've known for a long time who.
But what's the lie to yourself necessarily?
I mean, I don't know. I think I just, maybe it's something as being like someone in recovery. I'm just highly aware of my ability to kind of lie to myself. And then be like, oh, how did I get here? Even like I know when I'm lying to myself because it will manifest as like anxiety. I'll start getting weird anxiety. So now I know, I'm either lying to someone else or I'm lying to myself.
Right.
But I guess like the delusion, it's like sometimes I'm like, am I lying to myself about like what if I already peaked at some point and I just missed it?
I think that's.
I guess I just keep going, you know.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if that's lying. I think that's more of like we all have those.
Like self-doubt.
That's a big thing too. Where another problem I struggle with daily is redirecting my thoughts to a more positive area. It's like it's really easy for me to slip into thoughts like that, where it's like, and you just focus on what's wrong. And then every day I'm have to like, no, let me reel it back in, redirect. And then, but that I think that helps release a lot of the anxiety that I would feel. Because anxiety just comes from you not addressing something. Yeah. So you have to like let it go. But meditation was something that helped. Reading all that, the self-help books. I know it's pretty gay, but like it works.
It's gay, but it works. Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
For sure.
All those platitudes from 12-step, I hate them all, and they're all true.
Yeah, they work, right. It's interesting, yeah. And I think it's been a little over a year for me since I had a drink.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's
amazing.
I'm on the beginning of, but I don't want to take too much. I appreciate it, and it is, I want to receive compliments or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I feel like I've always liked smoking weed more. Yeah. And so, like, I don't go to AA. Yeah. But I did decide for the benefit of my health and my career, I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
What's your biggest asset?
I don't know. I think probably my black skin.
He's going to say what you want.
Yeah, because I get to say nigger. No, I don't know. Maybe
there is like a stand-up routine about how it's like, there's something there.
Yeah. Oh, maybe my humor. I guess it's maybe silly because that's every comedian's greatest asset, right? Probably. But it's also a defense mechanism. Yeah. But but it is more, I do like making people laugh. Like the same way your family grew up. Yep. With a lot of laughter. That's how I grew up. The Irish people and black people are a lot alike.
I mean, we're basically the black people of white people.
Yeah, I say it all the time. That's why you can be able to say the N-word. I say it all the time. You're the
I think Donald Trump actually said that when it was like Irish Day. Remember when he was like, they're like it was like, what do you mean, you people?
That's so great. I mean, when he's right, he's right.
Where can we find you and your podcast?
It's YouTube, the Trey Stewart Program, and Instagram. And you online? What?
And online, your social.
Yeah, Instagram is just Trey Stewart, TRESTEWART, the number 1. And that's it. Join the program. I appreciate. Thank you for the assist. We hit our first mill. Hopefully.
I'm so excited for you. Thank you for coming on my show, and see you around.
The Check-In with Bridget and Cousin Maggie can now be found at Phetasy.com. It's been titled Another Round with Bridget Phetasy, and it's now in video.
This has been Walk-Ins Welcome with Bridget Phetasy. I'm Bridget Phetasy, and you're welcome. It's the dumbest line.